Okay, so BTS has lost all of their Grammy nominations from last night's award ceremony. Let's get into it. I think this needs to be a major wake up call to armies because I have tried expressing this in the past, maybe not on this channel, but definitely online. And the issue with the Grammys is that they're neither a popularity or quality contest, they're a politics contest. And essentially, even if it's not politics like you might think in the conventional sense, meaning the government, there's still politics in industry. And in the music industry, that still remains true. Certain artists are liked more than others, and because of that, they're more likely to win awards when you have shows such as the Grammys that operate based off of committee as opposed to off of votes, like the People's Choice Awards or certain MTV Awards, which a lot of people need to understand. I see so many armies saying if this was up to a vote, armies would have definitely outvoted every other fandom that was participating in this or nominated for this. And yes, that is, in my opinion, definitely correct. If other K-pop acts, such as Blackpink and possibly Stray Kids, were also nominated, then that might give them a bit of competition. But I'd say given the acts that were in the categories that BTS was nominated in, ARMY is definitely the most proactive and supportive fandom there is, and they would make sure that BTS gets the awards that they deserve. However, certain award shows like the Grammys want to at least give the idea that they're working off of the quality of the music and not the popularity of the music. Unfortunately, they have proven time and time again that's not the case. Look at 2018 when Ed Sheeran's Shape of You won over songs such as Lady Gaga's Million Reasons or even more prominent Kesha's Praying, which a lot of people thought definitely deserved to win the award that night. Or if we look at 2021, Justin Bieber's song Yummy was nominated in so many categories no matter how universally hated that song was, yet Rina Sawayama received absolutely zero nominations despite her album and the single Excess being considered some of the best works of 2020, or the nomination period, which would be the more accurate thing for me to say. So it's not always a quality competition. And then if you look and see, well, maybe it's a popularity competition. Let's ask the 8th member of BTS, Halsey, what she thinks. Without Me was completely snubbed. You look at The Weeknd, how many works of his received absolutely zero nominations despite how popular they were? And then we look at some other artists, Katy Perry and Nicki Minaj, despite how popular they've been, especially Katy Perry during Teenage Dream era and even Prism era, and then Nicki Minaj throughout her entire career, they have been snubbed time and time again for both nominations and awards. They both have yet to receive a single Grammy in their entire careers. And then we look at the politics of things. As much as I'm not her biggest fan when it comes to who she is and how she portrays herself, Azalea Banks dragged the Grammys through the dirt when she explained how, in order to prevent Nicki Minaj from winning Grammys, because again, the industry politics and the people in the industry don't like Nicki, what they did is every single year that they could, they fudged things so that way other female rappers could be nominated at the Grammys. You look at Iggy Azalea, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Doja Cat, Lizzo, and this is absolutely no fault of their own. They don't have the power to go in and make these executives in these secret voting groups or whatever you want to call them. They don't have the power to make them do what they want and snub Nicki the awards. No, these people are doing this on their own accord. So what needs to happen is BTS needs to get into those industry politics. And if I remember correctly, I thought they signed some sort of joint venture with one of Scooter Braun's labels or an associate label of his. And I thought, This is great. If we look at his artists and his connections to the industry, he could definitely make it that BTS gets their first Grammy. Unfortunately, that was wishful thinking on my part because clearly that has yet to present any sort of results. And then we get to the part where armies love to say things like BTS paved the way and BTS is beyond K-pop. Well, unfortunately, as far as the Grammys are concerned, they're not. And the Grammys still see K-pop as a novelty, something that's hot right now but's going to wear off in a few years. The Grammys and a lot of other award shows have had a deep-rooted history of xenophobia and bigotry and not allowing people that they don't want represented to show up to these award shows. Look at what they've done. When it comes to black artists, first they just wouldn't even let them near the venues in the first place, but once there was enough pressure, they said, fine, we'll give you guys the urban category. You don't get to go into the mainstream, popular, big four categories. We're going to make a category just to shut you people up. If you want to be at these award shows, we're going to say, look at that. We gave you the opportunity. We're being inclusive and progressive, and you guys get to have your own category, so that way we get to say that you're included, even though we all know that's just BS. Then they did the same thing to the Latin community. They have their own Latin Grammys, and then they have the Latin category. Unless a song gets really breakthrough success, usually through the assistance of having a more prominently Western artist attached to the song. Look at Despacito and how Justin Bieber was attached to the song. Unless that happens, you are not going to see these other groups being incorporated as well in the Grammys. Granted, other award shows have been better about this, but still, whenever you have more of what's considered to be a niche market, like the Latin market, like the K-pop market, these award shows will basically isolate them into their own category to say, look at us, we're still including them, when they're not, and we all know it's just nonsense. So yeah, BTS, as far as the Grammys are concerned, is a novelty, and the Grammys and the committees will continue to use BTS's name for clout in order to get views, in order to get interactions, in order for people to talk about the award show, but they're not going to give BTS the award. And it sucks because not only are BTS as well as several other K-pop acts very much deserving of the award and the recognition that comes with it, but we've seen that the members of BTS, at least a few of them, really want to have a Grammy. They want to say, look at what we've done. We're setting an example for our fans and the rest of K-pop that you can do anything and nothing can stop you. And I mentioned how the Grammys see K-pop as more of like a niche or a fad. Let's get into that because everyone loves to say BTS paved the way. Pave the way essentially means that you have made easier for other people to follow behind you in your footsteps and create either a career or be successful, something of that nature. BTS so far has been the only act in K-pop to have solo works see mainstream success across the Western market, and when I say that, I'm looking predominantly at the Billboard Hot 100, which is pretty much, in my opinion, the best indicator of how a song is performing in terms of mainly the Western and the US market. So yes, BTS absolutely has helped to revolutionize K-pop along with Blackpink. They have both made it that K-pop is so much more well recognized and popular, but they haven't made it mainstream. If you look at the success of K-pop acts, we have BTS obviously, who's done amazing, predominantly starting with their songs that are 100% written in English, so Dynamite, Butter, Permission to Dance. You have Blackpink, whose highest charting song is Ice Cream, which features a Western artist being Selena Gomez. Other than that, they have failed to break into the top 20 of the Hot 100 with their own works. They came close with songs like Shutdown and Pink Venom, but other than that, they usually land around the top 30, top 40 spot. And it just shows that one, YG Entertainment has no idea how the hell to market the group. And two, unfortunately, they're not as solidified in the Western market as we might want to think. And then let's look at the other acts that have recently charted on the Hot 100. Twice has had a couple of charts with their recent hit Moonlight Sunrise, and then back in 2021 they had The Feels, but both of these songs were fully in English. So I am interested to see as to what their future projects might hold, if anything that is in Korean might have at least similar success, if not more. And then, surprisingly, you have New Jeans, which brings me to another topic, which is the future of K-pop. Now, I have always been a little bit afraid as to what's going to happen with K-pop, especially with two factors that are now right at our doorstep. Number one, we have BTS's military enlistment. To the extent of my knowledge, BTS's solo works are rarely received as well as their group projects. Yes, you have some standout works, mainly from Jungkook as well as from Suga, but typically they're not going to be as popular as things they would put out as a group, which is unfortunate because a lot of their solo works are still on par, if not better quality-wise, than their group works. So with their military enlistments, as well as just being on a hiatus in general in order to fulfill solo endeavors, we have this issue of what's going to happen. Now, in general, it's normal for an artist to take 2-3 years off, work on an album, make sure it's as high quality as possible, so when they do have a comeback, things are up to the standards that people expect, and it doesn't feel like a letdown. I mean, let's look at Adele. She goes away for 3, 4, 5+ years, comes back, just dominates the industry because the work that she spent so much time cultivating was worth it. But the issue with BTS is because they're seen as the representative figures for the K-pop scene, not having that constant presence of K-pop could make it that it becomes an out of sight, out of mind situation in which people stop thinking about it because they stop seeing BTS and then they forget that it exists. And I'm not talking about K-pop stans, I'm talking about the general public that maybe just casually listens to the radio, listens to what's popular, maybe like a top 40 Spotify playlist, but doesn't necessarily take time to look into the specific genres that different artists are coming from. So we're not going to be able to rely on BTS's group releases, at least for another year, if not longer. So the next best thing would be Blackpink. Unfortunately, we don't know when and if they're going to come out with new music anytime soon, because currently they're either touring or wrapping up a tour after they just released an album that took over 2 years to come out about. So we don't know. And then there's also the glaring issue that their 7-year anniversary is coming up in August. YG Entertainment has proven to be a burning dumpster fire, and we don't know if they're going to renew their contracts. If they do, I suspect it's going to be similar to Twice's reasoning in that they love being a group and they love being with each other, more so than how they feel about their companies, because we know that JYP Entertainment is also trash, because every company is apparently trash. But yeah, so we can't even fully rely on Blackpink in order to pick up the slack where BTS is not able to be the representative group. Who else do we have to fill in that gap? Well, if we look at BTS's label mates, we have TXT and Hypen, which I'm not sure if Hybe has the marketing savvy in order to market them properly into the Western market without coming off as this is a BTS replacement. And then even though 17 is amazing in terms of their album sales, We have the issue that a lot of people are kind of apprehensive to K-pop because they don't like these bigger groups and how quote unquote hard it is to learn all the members and form a connection with them. So for that reason alone, I'm going to say 17's probably not going to be the best bet. And then speaking of groups with large members, another really well-selling group is NCT. And I doubt that they're going to try to make an OT23 comeback in the Western market. I hope they're not crazy enough to do that. But even as great as the group is as selling, and even though they have multiple members, 3 of which that can speak English fluently, and a few that can also speak to a sufficient proficiency level, they are under SM Entertainment that does not know how to market their groups whatsoever. I swear, Red Velvet could have been so much bigger if SM knew what they were doing. But no, let's give the people NCT Hollywood, which I made a video about, over a year now, and we have had 0 updates on whatsoever, so who knows if that project's even happening. So yeah, I don't think NCT is coming in. So then we look at another group with a big Western presence, which would be Stray Kids. Stray Kids, pretty much all of the members can speak English, at least decently. And then you have, of course, 2 members that are from English-speaking countries that are completely fluent. Han and Seungmin's English just continues to amaze me. Hyunjin and Changbin have made such improvement from their debut era. So you'd think that they would be the next big thing to step up. And I don't know why they haven't managed to hit the Hot 100 yet with how well they sell, and the fact that their US and Mexican fan bases tend to be stronger than their South Korean ones at times in terms of support, popularity, views, streams, sales, etc., you name it. So that I blame it on JYP Entertainment for their lack of producing. I literally just last week figured out they had a group called Boy Story that debuted several years ago, and I'm thinking, this is a JYP Entertainment group. How was it that I had never even heard of them? Don't get me started on Extraordinary Heroes and how poorly they're marketed, so there's that. Which brings us now to New Jeans, the wild card that came out of nowhere that somehow has managed to go viral a number of times and is now the only group alongside BTS, Blackpink, and Twice of the 3rd and 4th generations to hit the Hot 100, and their success just blows me away. So yeah, arguably they could potentially be the future of K-pop if BTS and Blackpink aren't able to continue their momentum for whatever reason. But that brings me to another problem. What happens if down the line New Jeans is able to take home an award? I mean, on one hand, then you can definitely make a stronger argument that BTS paved the way and this is who they paved the way for. But on the other hand, how are ARMY going to react? Especially, what happens if New Jeans wins the award, or any other K-pop group for that matter in the future, and they don't acknowledge BTS in their acceptance speech? They thank their producers, choreographers, directors, staff, family, friends, whatever. They leave out BTS. What happens then? Are ARMY going to become like the 2nd gen stans that just say everything in the 4th generation is trash, we want to go back to the 2nd generation? The 2nd generation's the only generation with talent, with stage presence, with good iconic music. Are ARMY going to become that jaded if BTS doesn't win and another group down the line does? Are they not going to be able to be happy for their group? Are they not going to be able to fully understand that this is what paving the way looks like? Because let's pretend that paving the way isn't metaphoric. Let's pretend we're meaning it in a literal sense, and you have to actually pave the road. Think of that scene in the Cars movie where Lightning McQueen has to manually just dig up the broken road and then retar the entire thing. How agonizing and time consuming and difficult that was, and how he wanted to take shortcuts, but he couldn't. That's what it means to pave the way. It's not simply you're popular, you broke out, and are this big artist. I always say, BTS broke through that glass ceiling that was keeping K-pop back from the Western market, and they inadvertently dropped a concrete slab in its place, preventing other K-pop groups from becoming as big or having any sort of success in the Western market, lest they be at risk of constantly being bombarded with, "You'll never be BTS. You'll never be as popular as BTS. You're not the next BTS." But yeah, what's going to happen if BTS eventually does end up paving the way for other groups to reach their level of success, become more successful than them, and then even go home with awards that BTS was deprived of? And let's just talk about the nominations for a second. The Grammys didn't actually nominate BTS, did they? The only nomination BTS received for just themselves was under the music video category. This is not the VMA Awards. This isn't hosted by MTV. The Grammys could not care less about the music video category. That is the last thing on their mind. Of course, they still weren't going to give it to BTS. So let's look at the other two things BTS was quote-unquote nominated for. The first thing was a collaboration where they were the featured artist on a Coldplay song, My Universe. The Grammys were nominating Coldplay for that. BTS was just the icing on the cake that they could say, "Look at us, we are nominating BTS because we want their fans to view our show and talk about it and nothing else." And then the other thing, BTS wasn't even directly awarded the nomination. It was Coldplay's album that was nominated, and BTS was just listed as one of the accredited artists on said album. It wasn't a BTS song. It wasn't a BTS album. It was, again, just them being tacked on for name brand recognition. So yeah, in summary, I love BTS. I think they deserve the world. They have proven time and time again to be such hardworking and dedicated artists. They're amazing role models. They have completely revolutionized how people consume music and what they think about what a boy band or a boy group is, and they have done amazing things. They absolutely deserve the recognition that is equivalent to winning a Grammy. I just don't think that the Grammy committee is going to be able to get past their own bigotry and xenophobia and industry politics to give them that award. And if they do, I have a feeling it's going to be closer to the sunset of BTS's career than right now when they have been in the height of said career. And with that being said, again, winning a Grammy is not everything. There have been so many iconic artists throughout history that have not received a single Grammy for any of their works. They've definitely been more than deserving of said award, but they just haven't received it. So BTS winning a Grammy or not is not the be-all, end-all of whether or not they have had a successful and impactful career. So what I say is, next year, in the event that BTS is nominated, I don't think they will be because they're still on hiatus. I don't know how much longer that's going to go on for, and with Jin, unfortunately, currently being in the military and all of us feeling like military wives right now, I don't think we're going to be seeing any OT7 activities in the near future. So what can we do? Instead of complaining about the Grammys, instead of spamming the Grammys Twitter account, and don't get me started on the armies that take it upon themselves to harass, target, and bully the artists that won. When you guys went after Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande for Rain On Me beating out Dynamite, I cannot express how embarrassed I was as an ARMY and a fan of BTS to see that behavior when they're always talking about loving yourselves, being a better person, not being a bully. So just to see that behavior is just disgusting. So instead of doing that, instead of watching the show, let's just have like a streaming party or something. Listen to their music on Spotify and Apple Music. Binge watch their music videos in a way that's not going to come off as bot behavior, because when you do that, that's when YouTube takes away the views. Buy their merchandise or something. Throw a We Love BTS stream or party or something. Do something more productive, because at the end of the day, a stupid, lousy 5 cents award that you can get in bulk at the dollar store or something, it's not going to mean anything compared to letting them continue to live out their dreams both successfully and comfortably because they have the money to fund doing so. That's going to mean so much more than having a Grammy engraved with their name on it. So next time that you want to go out and find what you consider to be a solution to BTS losing at the Grammys, do something more productive that's actually going to benefit them and isn't going to portray the fandom as being toxic and vile, because the last thing we need is to continue to perpetuate the mentality that K-pop stans are just a bunch of stupid children that have nothing better to do than use the internet and be toxic and just degenerates towards everyone, because that is the stereotype that we are all being labeled as because we like K-pop. It's just, you like K-pop? Oh, you must not be important, you must not have any relevant opinions, and you must not have a functioning brain. So yeah, ARMY have done so many wonderful, amazing things to help BTS. Since we don't have the power to change the Grammy committee's minds and make them give BTS the awards, unless maybe we boycott the awards so that they realize that no one's going to watch unless the people watching and their faves actually win. Next year, let's be productive. Instead of watching the show, let's either have a streaming party or just do things individually or who knows what. But sending a bunch of hate to both the Grammy committee and the artist that actually won is not going to resolve anything. It's just going to make us look bad. It's going to make BTS embarrassed. And it's not going to make them any more likely to win awards in the future. I hope that BTS is doing alright, because I know in the past they've taken it kind of hard when they didn't win the awards, despite being deserving of such, but I hope that they're doing okay. And anyways, to everyone watching this, again, remember to try and do things that are going to be more productive to help your faves. And until next time, stay happy, healthy, and hydrated. Peace out.